Imagine standing in your living room, surrounded by the quiet chaos of your life. There's a stack of unopened mail on the counter, a closet overflowing with clothes you haven't worn in years, and a phone buzzing with notifications you don't have the energy to check. The weight of it all feels heavy, doesn't it? It's not just the physical clutter, it's the mental noise, the pressure to keep up with a world that demands perfection, productivity, and constant progress. Maybe you feel like you're falling short, like your life is a collection of flaws you can't fix. You're not alone. In a society obsessed with flawless Instagram feeds, curated careers, and the next big purchase, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, disconnected, or even ashamed of your imperfections. But what if there was a way to find peace, not by erasing those flaws, but by embracing them? What if the cracks, the wear, the fleeting moments of your life were the very things that made it beautiful? This is the gift of Wabi-Sabi, a Japanese philosophy that invites you to love life's imperfections, and in doing so, discover a simpler, more intentional, and deeply fulfilling way to live. Wabi-Sabi is an ancient Japanese concept, rooted in Zen Buddhism and the aesthetics of tea ceremonies, but its wisdom feels timeless, especially in our modern world. At its heart, Wabi-Sabi is about finding beauty in what's imperfect, impermanent, and incomplete. It's a celebration of the natural cycle of growth and decay, the authenticity of things worn by time, and the quiet grace of simplicity. The word itself combines two ideas. Wabi suggests humility, rusticity, and a deep connection to nature, like a moss-covered stone or a simple clay bowl. Sabi speaks to the beauty that emerges with age and use, like the patina on an old copper kettle or the wrinkles on a beloved grandparent's face. Together, they form a worldview that sees flaws not as failures, but as evidence of a life lived, a story told, a moment cherished. Think of a hand-stitched quilt, its patches uneven but warm with history, or a garden where wildflowers bloom unevenly among the weeds. These are wabi-sabi, beautiful not despite their imperfections, but because of them. In today's world, wabi-sabi feels like a gentle rebellion against the pressures you face every day. You're surrounded by messages that tell you to strive for more stuff, more success, more perfection. Social media showcases lives that seem flawless, spotless homes, perfect bodies, curated vacations. Consumer culture nudges you to buy the latest gadget, the trendiest clothes, the newest car, promising that these things will make you happy, complete, enough. But this chase is exhausting, isn't it? It leaves you feeling like you're never quite there, like every scratch on your furniture, every misstep in your career, every wrinkle on your skin is a mark of failure. Wabi-Sabi flips this narrative. It asks you to pause, to look at the imperfections in your life, your chipped dishes, your unfinished projects, your moments of doubt, and see them as part of what makes you human, what makes your life uniquely yours. It's not about settling for less. It's about redefining what enough means, finding abundance in the real, the raw, the beautifully flawed. Let's explore what Wabi-Sabi can do for you. When you embrace this philosophy, you begin to release the grip of perfectionism, that relentless voice that says you're not good enough unless everything is flawless. This shift is liberating. Imagine looking at a scuffed pair of shoes, not as something to replace, but as a reminder of the adventures they've carried you through. Muddy hikes, spontaneous dances, long walks with someone you love. Instead of beating yourself up for a project that didn't turn out as planned, you might see it as a step in your growth, a lesson woven into your journey. Wabi-Sabi helps you declutter your mind from the need to be perfect, creating space for peace, gratitude, and self-compassion. It's a way to simplify your life, not by stripping it bare, but by filling it with what truly matters, meaning connection, authenticity. Your home is a great place to start. If you're like most people, your space is filled with things you've accumulated over time, some chosen with care, others out of habit or impulse. Maybe there's a drawer stuffed with old cables, a shelf of books you meant to read, or a closet of clothes that don't fit your life anymore. These things can feel like anchors, weighing you down with guilt or indecision. Wabi-Sabi invites you to approach your possessions with intention, to ask not just, do I need this, but does this carry meaning? Does it tell a story? Picture a chipped ceramic bowl, one you bought on a trip years ago. It's not perfect, but every time you hold it, you remember the market where you found it, the vendor's smile, the warmth of that day. That bowl is Wabi-Sabi. It's imperfect, but it's alive with memory. Compare that to a set of pristine plates you bought because they matched a trend, but which you rarely use because they feel too formal. Wabi-Sabi nudges you toward the bowl, toward the things that feel personal, that resonate with your heart. This philosophy extends beyond objects to how you live your days. In a culture that glorifies busyness, Wabi-Sabi asks you to slow down, to notice the beauty in life's small, imperfect moments. Imagine a morning where you oversleep, your coffee spills, and your to-do list feels overwhelming. Instead of spiraling into frustration, you take a deep breath and sit by a window, watching the way sunlight filters through a cracked pane of glass. The moment isn't perfect. Your coffee is cold, your plans are delayed, but it's real, and in that stillness, you find a flicker of peace. Wabi-Sabi teaches you to cherish these moments, to see them as enough. This mindfulness, this intentional presence, helps you break free from the constant pressure to do more, achieve more, be more. It's a quiet act of defiance against a world that says you're only as good as your output. Let's dive deeper into how Wabi-Sabi can transform different areas of your life, starting with your mind. You know that inner critic, the one that points out every mistake, every flaw, every time you fall short of an impossible standard? Wabi-Sabi silences that voice by teaching you to embrace your imperfections as part of your humanity. That time you missed a deadline at work? It's not a mark of failure. It's a chance to learn resilience. That moment you snapped at a loved one? It's a reminder that you're human, not a robot programmed for perfection. By accepting these moments, you cultivate self-compassion, which is like a warm embrace for your soul. You start to see your struggles not as deficits, but as threads in the rich, imperfect tapestry of your life. This shift can be profound, easing the mental clutter of self-doubt and opening the door to inner peace. Try this. The next time you catch yourself ruminating on a mistake, write it down and next to it, note one thing it taught you. Maybe forgetting a friend's birthday led to a heartfelt conversation that deepened your bond. This reframing turns flaws into growth, chaos into clarity. Your relationships, too, can blossom through Wabi-Sabi. Think about the people in your life, your partner, your friends, your family. They're not perfect, are they? Maybe your partner forgets to take out the trash, or your best friend cancels plans at the last minute. Maybe your family gatherings are messy, with arguments and laughter tangled together. Wabi-Sabi invites you to see these imperfections as the heartbeat of your connections. Instead of wishing for a flawless relationship, you learn to love the cracks, the late-night apologies that bring you closer, the inside jokes born from shared mistakes, the quiet moments when someone's vulnerability catches you off guard. Consider a time when a friend's imperfections strengthened your bond. Perhaps they forgot an important event, but made it up with a thoughtful gesture. That moment, messy as it was, is Wabi-Sabi. Try writing a short note to someone you love, acknowledging a flawed but meaningful moment. I was thinking about that time we argued and ended up laughing over coffee. It's not perfect, but it's us, and I cherish it. This small act of gratitude can transform how you see your relationships, making them feel richer, more resilient, more real. Your finances can also benefit from Wabi-Sabi's wisdom. In a world that equates happiness with having the latest, the shiniest, the most, Wabi-Sabi asks you to pause and reflect. What do I truly value? What brings meaning to my life? By focusing on quality over quantity, you can make choices that align with your heart rather than your impulses. Instead of buying a new phone because yours has a scratched screen, you might decide it's still functional. Its imperfections a reminder of the moments it's been with you. Late-night calls, photos of a trip, a playlist that lifts your mood. Instead of chasing every fashion trend, you might invest in a single, well-made jacket that you'll wear for years. Its frayed cuffs a testament to its journey with you. This conscious consumption doesn't just save you money. It reduces the financial anxiety of keeping up, fostering a sense of abundance rooted in what you already have. Try this. For 1 week before any purchase, ask, will this add meaning to my life or just more noise? Keep a small notebook to jot down your reflections. You might find that a second-hand book with dog-eared pages feels more valuable than a pristine one because its imperfections invite you into its story. Your environment reflects Wabi-Sabi's influence in powerful ways. A cluttered space can feel like a cluttered mind, each unneeded item a small demand on your attention. Wabi-Sabi encourages you to let go of excess, not to achieve a sterile, minimalist aesthetic, but to create a home that feels like a sanctuary. Imagine a living room with a worn wooden table, its scratches telling stories of meals shared and games played, or a bookshelf with a mix of new and tattered books, each one a chapter of your life. These imperfections make your space feel alive, authentic, yours. By letting go of things that don't serve you, clothes that don't fit, gadgets you don't use, decor that feels hollow, you create room to breathe. This decluttering isn't about perfection. It's about curating a space that reflects who you are, flaws and all. Start with one corner of a room. Sort through it slowly, keeping only what feels meaningful. A faded postcard, a chipped vase, a blanket that's frayed but cozy. For each item you release, say a quiet thank you for its role in your life, a practice inspired by Danshari, the Japanese art of intentional decluttering. This gratitude makes letting go feel like a gift to yourself, not a loss. Your body, too, can be a canvas for Wabi-Sabi. In a culture obsessed with youth and flawlessness, it's easy to see every wrinkle, scar, or stretch mark as something to hide. But Wabi-Sabi invites you to see these as marks of your journey, proof of laughter, healing, growth. Imagine looking in the mirror and, instead of focusing on what you wish was different, noticing the lines around your eyes that deepen when you smile, or the scar from a childhood adventure. These are not flaws. They're stories etched into your skin. Try this. Stand in front of a mirror and find one imperfection. Say to yourself, this is part of my story, and it's beautiful. Maybe it's the freckles from years in the sun, or the stretch marks from carrying a child. This small act of self-love can shift how you see yourself, replacing criticism with gratitude. Extend this to your self-care. Instead of punishing workouts or restrictive diets, choose habits that feel nourishing, like a gentle walk that lets you notice the world around you, or a meal cooked with care, even if it's not gourmet. Wabi-Sabi reminds you that your body is not a project to perfect. It's a vessel for living, flawed and wonderful. Your time, too, can be shaped by Wabi-Sabi. You're often told that every moment must be productive, optimized, perfect. But Wabi-Sabi invites you to savor the imperfect moments, the rushed mornings that end in a quiet cup of tea, the plans that fall apart but lead to unexpected joy. Imagine a day when your schedule goes awry. A meeting runs late, a friend cancels dinner, and you're left with an unplanned hour. Instead of frustration, you sit outside, noticing the way leaves fall unevenly, their chaos somehow perfect. Try setting aside 5 minutes each day to do nothing. Just sit, breathe, and notice one imperfect detail around you. Maybe it's the uneven stitches on a pillow, or the way your dog's fur is matted from rolling in the grass. These moments of presence, however small, anchor you in the now, reminding you that time doesn't need to be perfect to be meaningful. Your work, too, can reflect Wabi-Sabi. In a world that measures success by flawless outcomes, promotions, awards, recognition, it's easy to feel like your efforts are never enough. But Wabi-Sabi teaches you to value the process, not just the product. Maybe you spent hours on a presentation that didn't land as you hoped, but in preparing it, you learned something new. Maybe a project fell short, but it sparked a conversation that opened a door. Try this. At the end of each workday, write down one imperfect moment that held value, a meeting that veered off track but revealed a new perspective, or a task you didn't finish but made progress on. This practice helps you see your work not as a series of successes or failures, but as a journey of growth, each step valuable in its imperfection. So, how do you bring Wabi-Sabi into your life? The beauty of this philosophy is that it doesn't require a grand overhaul. It's about small, intentional steps that ripple outward, transforming how you see yourself and the world. Start with a simple exercise. Take a walk through your home and choose one imperfect object that you love: a cracked mug, a faded scarf, a scratched piece of furniture. Hold it, look at it, ask, what story does this tell? Why does it matter to me? Maybe it's a teapot your grandmother gave you, its handle chipped but warm with memories of her kitchen. Write down what you feel, or share the story with someone you trust. This act of noticing, of appreciating the imperfect, is the first step toward a Wabi-Sabi mindset. Next, try decluttering with intention. Pick one small area, a drawer, a shelf, a corner of your desk, and sort through it slowly. Instead of asking, "Do I need this?" ask, "Does this bring meaning to my life? Does it feel like me?" Keep what resonates, what carries a story or a purpose, and let go of what doesn't. If letting go feels hard, that's okay. Wabi-Sabi honors those emotions. Maybe that old sweater reminds you of a friend you've lost touch with, and parting with it feels like letting go of them. Try a practice inspired by Danshari. Thank the item for its role in your life before releasing it. This gratitude transforms the act into one of respect, not loss. Start small, one drawer at a time, and notice how even a tiny change lightens your space and your mind. In your daily routine, carve out moments to pause and notice the imperfect beauty around you. It could be as simple as savoring your morning tea, even if the cup is stained from years of use. Or taking a walk and noticing the way a tree's gnarled branches twist against the sky, imperfect but striking. Try keeping a Wabi-Sabi journal. Each evening, write down one imperfect moment from your day that felt meaningful. A conversation that stumbled but ended in laughter. A sunset obscured by clouds but still glowing. A mistake that taught you something new. Over time, this practice trains your eyes to seek beauty in the ordinary, the flawed, the fleeting. It's a form of mindfulness that grounds you in the present, helping you find peace amid life's chaos. In your relationships, practice Wabi-Sabi by celebrating the imperfections that make your connections real. Think of someone you love and recall a moment when their humanity shone through. Maybe a time they forgot something important, but made it up with a heartfelt gesture, or a moment when you argued, but came out stronger. Write them a note, not a long one, just a few lines. "I was thinking about that time we got lost on our hike and laughed until we couldn't breathe. It wasn't perfect, but it's one of my favorite memories of us." This small act of gratitude can deepen your bond, reminding you both that love thrives in the messy human moments. And when you find yourself striving for perfection in your interactions, wanting to say the right thing, avoid conflict, be the perfect friend or partner, pause. Ask, what would it feel like to let this moment be messy, real, enough? Financially, challenge yourself to make Wabi-Sabi inspired choices. The next time you're tempted to buy something new, ask, will this add meaning to my life, or just more noise? Maybe it's choosing to repair a beloved pair of boots instead of buying new ones, appreciating the way their worn leather molds to your feet. Or opting for a second-hand book with dog-eared pages over a pristine copy, because its imperfections feel like an invitation to join its story. These choices align your spending with your values, reducing the stress of keeping up and fostering a sense of abundance rooted in what you already have. Try setting a small goal. For 1 month, before any purchase, pause and ask, is this Wabi-Sabi for me? Notice how this shifts your perspective, making you more intentional, less impulsive. Your body, too, can be a space for Wabi-Sabi. Try this. The next time you look in the mirror, find one imperfection and reframe it as a mark of your life. Maybe it's the freckles from years in the sun, or the stretch marks from carrying a child. Say to yourself, this is part of my story, and it's beautiful. This small act of self-love can shift how you see yourself, replacing criticism with gratitude. Extend this to your self-care. Instead of punishing workouts or restrictive diets, choose habits that feel nourishing, like a gentle walk that lets you notice the world around you, or a meal cooked with care, even if it's not gourmet. Wabi-Sabi reminds you that your body is not a project to perfect, It's a vessel for living, flawed and wonderful. Your time, too, can be shaped by Wabi-Sabi. You're often told that every moment must be productive, optimized, perfect. But Wabi-Sabi invites you to savor the imperfect moments, the rushed mornings that end in a quiet cup of tea, the plans that fall apart but lead to unexpected joy. Imagine a day when your schedule goes awry. A meeting runs late, a friend cancels dinner, and you're left with an unplanned hour. Instead of frustration, you sit outside, noticing the way leaves fall unevenly, their chaos somehow perfect. Try setting aside 5 minutes each day to do nothing. Just sit, breathe, and notice one imperfect detail around you. Maybe it's the uneven stitches on a pillow or the way your dog's fur is matted from rolling in the grass. These moments of presence, however small, anchor you in the now, reminding you that time doesn't need to be perfect to be meaningful. Your work, too, can reflect Wabi-Sabi. In a world that measures success by flawless outcomes, promotions, awards, recognition, it's easy to feel like your efforts are never enough. But Wabi-Sabi teaches you to value the process, not just the product. Maybe you spent hours on a presentation that didn't land as you hoped, but in preparing it, you learned something new. Maybe a project fell short, but it sparked a conversation that opened a door. Try this. At the end of each workday, write down one imperfect moment that held value, a meeting that veered off track but revealed a new perspective, or a task you didn't finish but made progress on. This practice helps you see your work not as a series of successes or failures, but as a journey of growth, each step valuable in its imperfection. Of course, embracing Wabi-Sabi isn't always easy. You might feel resistance, especially in a world that equates worth with flawlessness. Social media will still tempt you with images of perfect lives. Advertisements will still push you to buy more, be more, do more. When you feel that pull, return to your breath. Ask yourself, what's one imperfect thing I can appreciate right now? Maybe it's the way your old chair creaks, a sound that feels like home, or the laugh lines on your face, proof of a life filled with joy. These moments of awareness are your anchor, reminding you that imperfection is not a flaw but a gift. If you struggle to let go of perfectionism, try this. Write down one flaw you're hard on yourself about. A messy house, a missed goal, a moment of impatience. Then write one way it's taught you something or connected you to someone else. This reframing can soften the edges of self-criticism, opening the door to self-acceptance. Wabi-Sabi also weaves beautifully with other Japanese philosophies that can deepen your practice. Take Kaizen, the art of continuous improvement through small steps. Wabi-Sabi and Kaizen together teach you that transformation doesn't require perfection, just consistent, imperfect effort. A single decluttered drawer, a single moment of gratitude, a single repaired item. These small acts build a life of meaning over time. Or consider Ikigai, the pursuit of purpose. Wabi-Sabi helps you find purpose not in grand achievements, but in the quiet, flawed moments that make you feel alive, a shared laugh, a walk in the rain, a sketch that's messy, but yours. Motonai, the respect for resources, compliments Wabi-Sabi by encouraging you to value what you have, to repair rather than discard, to see beauty in the worn and the used. Imagine fixing a torn shirt with visible stitches, each one a reminder to care for what's yours. These philosophies interlace, creating a tapestry of intentional living that's both practical and profound. Let's bring Wabi-Sabi to life with a story. Meet Elena, a 42-year-old teacher who feels buried under the weight of her responsibilities. Her home is cluttered with papers, gifts from students, and clothes she's held onto just in case. Her days are a blur of grading, meetings, and the pressure to be the perfect educator, parent, and partner. She feels like she's failing at all of it. One evening, exhausted, she finds an old journal in a box, its pages crinkled, some entries smudged from spilled tea. Reading it, she's transported to a time when she wrote poetry, not for acclaim, but for joy. The imperfections of the journal, its stains, its messy handwriting, feel like a warm hug from her younger self. Inspired, Elena begins applying Wabi-Sabi. She starts decluttering, keeping only the teaching materials that spark creativity and donating the rest. She repairs a favorite mug instead of replacing it, finding comfort in its familiar weight. She starts writing poetry again, not for perfection, but for the feeling of words flowing. She even invites her students to embrace imperfection, asking them to share beautiful mistakes from their work, turning errors into moments of growth. Slowly, Elena's life feels lighter, not because it's flawless, but because it's real, hers, imperfect and beautiful. Another story. Consider Mark, a 29-year-old software developer caught in the trap of comparison. His apartment is filled with gadgets he bought to keep up with tech trends, but they leave him feeling empty. He's always chasing the next promotion, the next big project, but it never feels like enough. One day, he notices an old guitar in the corner, its strings rusty, its body scratched from his teenage years. Playing it, he remembers late nights strumming with friends, not caring about perfection. Inspired, Mark applies Wabi-Sabi. He declutters his tech collection, keeping only what he truly uses. He starts playing music again, not for mastery, but for joy, embracing the off-key notes. He repairs a worn-out bag instead of buying a new one, appreciating its faded charm. His life begins to feel fuller, not because it's perfect, but because it's authentic. One more story. Meet Priya, a 35-year-old nurse who feels overwhelmed by long shifts and societal pressure to have it all. Her small apartment is cluttered with gifts she feels guilty discarding, and she struggles with feeling like she's not doing enough, at work, at home, in her relationships. One day she finds a cracked photo frame holding a picture of her parents laughing at a family picnic. The frame's imperfection makes the memory feel more precious, not less. Moved, Priya embraces Wabi-Sabi. She sorts through her belongings, keeping only what carries meaning, like a scarf her mother knitted, slightly uneven but warm. She starts taking short walks after work, noticing the beauty in cracked sidewalks sprouting tiny flowers. She writes a letter to her parents, thanking them for a specific, imperfect moment, a rainy picnic where they all ended up laughing in the car. Priya's life starts to feel more like hers, not because it's flawless, but because it's filled with moments that matter. Wabi-Sabi offers you a way to love your life, not despite its imperfections, but because of them. It's a call to let go of the exhausting pursuit of flawlessness and embrace the beauty of what's real, the cracks, the wear, the fleeting moments that make you human. Start small. Notice one imperfect thing today that makes you smile. Hold it. Cherish it. Let it remind you that life's beauty lies in its impermanence, its authenticity, its truth. You don't need a perfect life to be happy. You need a life that's yours, lived with intention, mindfulness, and gratitude. Wabi-Sabi is your guide, whispering that the imperfect is not just enough, it's exquisite. So take a deep breath, look around, and begin. Your beautifully imperfect life is waiting. Beautifully imperfect life is waiting. Beautifully imperfect life is waiting. Beautifully imperfect life